Today, Otis Sanford is ABC24's political analyst. Catherine Burgess is a reporter with MLK50.com. And Tawan Stout-Mitchell is a former city councilwoman, former board member, school board member, and now a political consultant. So let's talk about the ads first. We always like to kind of digest those, show them, and get our take on them. Let's start with the U.S. Senate race, because that's what is most prolific, I guess, throughout the state of Tennessee. Marsha Blackburn, the incumbent, versus Gloria Johnson. And everybody, I'll just tell you ahead of time, everybody's gone negative here in the last few days leading up to the election. Let's show you Marsha's ad on China.
Some say I'm too tough, that I should be more delicate. But you know what? It's time to break some China. China stole our jobs, sent us a virus. They're buying up our land and spying on us. I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message because we're going to have to break a lot more China to save America.
Now, I happen to like the ad. I think it's very well done. Notice you're shaking your head, though.
What is it that you like about it?
Well, I just think it's creative, and it makes me chuckle. Now, I know there's some things there that may not be true, but that's true of every political ad.
What has she done to fight China? I mean, nothing. I mean, China, well, even Roger Wicker is talking about China down in Mississippi. I don't even. To me, the ad makes no sense. It's hokey, and she ought to be talking about stuff that's important. That's all I have to say about that ad.
It's making a huge issue of something that she really doesn't have that much influence.
It has absolutely nothing to do
Fair
with
point.
it. And I don't remember her saying much about China before now. She's been mad at all the Democrats. I just don't understand
Well,
that.
now she's so mad at China, she's breaking plates. Catherine?
Well, I'd love to know where those plates were manufactured. It also makes me chuckle, but it's also, I mean, it's just wildly inaccurate. China's not stealing our jobs.
Right.
We are choosing to send our jobs to them. China didn't package up a virus and send it to us with intent. They might be spying on us. Yes, so give her one. But
Right,
it's just
get in line for who's spying on us.
Right. It's just such a wildly inaccurate but very funny ad, and I think it's also very unspecific. Like, what does it mean to break China? Why is she what does that mean? How is she holding China accountable? In what way? Can she even do that?
Mm-hmm. As one U.S. senator out of 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Tawan, I suppose you agree with the assessment here.
I'm glad she's not running for Secretary of State, because I saw no diplomacy in there, although we have some issues with China. But she hasn't introduced anything relating to China to tie that with. Right. And she has, it's a hokey ad to
Very
me.
hokey.
I just didn't like it. And I really think she needs to focus on issues that impact us daily, that she's not focused on, and that's reproductive health care, making sure that we have an increase on the minimum wage. There are some things that really impact people that she's not going to focus on.
Well, she will.
She's never going to touch that stuff.
She needs to talk to the man who's running for president and tell him to stop buying his hats from China.
Well, let's talk about her opponent, Gloria Johnson. One of the Tennessee Three is what she was most known for, and that's kind of what propelled her to be the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate. She is a long shot, at least according to the latest Vanderbilt poll and a couple of others. But let's see one of the last shots she's trying to give her campaign a chance.
This is simple. While Marsha took millions from Big Pharma and voted against lowering prices for insulin and medicine from D.C., I expanded healthcare in Tennessee. Surprised? I'm not. I'm Gloria Johnson, and I approve this message.
Now, she's only doing 15-second ads because you can buy more of them, obviously, and spread it around a little more. What are your thoughts about this particular ad?
This one is specific. It says, this is what Marsha Blackburn did, this is what I did, which has quite the contrast to the China ad. It's also very short and succinct, which I like. I'm concerned that she only dropped it yesterday, so it's a little bit late in the race to have an impact, but it's a decent ad.
There's another one, too, floating around where she compares her house to the size of Marsha's house, which is kind of, but this is the most recent one. What are your thoughts, Tawan?
I'm not a fan of negative ads. I'm a fan of being the best in the room and showing you what I'm going to do. And she did do that, but I'm not going to waste my time on the opponent. I'm going to waste my time, my 15 seconds, on giving you a full story and accounting what I
You don't think you have to contrast yourself?
I think you can contrast. I don't like those ugly pictures. It's just not me. But I think you have to contrast. I think what our Vice President Harris is doing is definitely a comparison of what he'll bring you, what I'll bring you. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think you have to demonize anybody.
Yeah, you have a fair point there. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, but research has shown that negative ads certainly get attention. Now, whether they work completely, that's still kind of debatable. The research says they do work to some degree. It works in driving up the negatives of the other opponent. So that's why people do it, and people have been doing it for years. Again, it's just, as Catherine says, it's too little too late there. And again, she just does not have the money and the national backing to really be that effective in this race.
All right, now we'll switch to District 97, which is, as I said, it's a district that spans a lot of ground here in the Memphis area. It's made up of almost 72,000 people, close to 30,000 households. It's 69% white, 15% black, 10% Hispanic, and stretches literally from Chickasaw Gardens through Berkeley, through East Memphis, through Shelby Farms, out to Cordova, almost to Eads. Pisgah Road, I believe, is where it ends.
Yeah.
So Otis, this is part of your district.
It is.
This is really an interesting race because both parties are heavily invested in it, very interested in its outcome. It's considered a purple district where the Republican, John Gillespie, is very vulnerable as a result. Each of them taking a different approach, but let's first show the ad that the Republicans and the Gillespie people are running against Jesse Huseth, the Democrat, who's the challenger.
The Jesse Huseth campaign was caught breaking a law designed to improve transparency in elections. Media has called for an investigation. Huseth is breaking the law and breaking our trust. If lawless Jesse Huseth is breaking the law now, just imagine what he'd do in office. Lawless Jesse Huseth is failing to follow state law, failing voters on transparency, and failing Tennessee. Vote no on lawless Jesse Huseth.
Let's talk about that ad. Now, Jesse Huseth is the Democratic challenger here. It sure sounded like he's an awfully bad person, but it didn't get very specific again as to, well, what exactly has he done that was breaking the law?
And see, that's not clear at all. That's not clear in that ad at all. And again, you paid money to expose something that you didn't expose.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I can't disagree on it.
Oh, I can't disagree at all. I mean, he broke the law. I think she says that like 5 times in the ad. But what law did he break?
He broke the law.
I have no right, and the law won.
And the law won.
I have no idea what he's talking about there. It's just, as long as you can say lawless Jesse Huseth 4 or 5 times, that's the intent. We have no idea what he's
Hoping the voters will go into the polls and say, oh, he's the lawless
He's
one.
the lawbreaker there. I don't know what he did.
Maybe
but
it'll
he's a
work. I don't know. We're getting over on this one, so let's quickly go to the next ad. This is an anti-Gillespie ad that the Huseth campaign is running.
John Gillespie caves in to political bosses. That's spineless and weak.
Gillespie criminalizing women and their doctors for seeking an abortion.
For draining hundreds of millions from our public schools.
Gillespie rubber-stamped police funding cuts.
Jesse Huseth has backbone.
A strong supporter of funding crime fighting in public schools.
Standing for a woman's right to choose.
Will secure funding for police and stop crime.
The backbone to get results. Jesse Huseth.
Okay, Catherine.
I think it's interesting that this ad is trying to target Gillespie for being a moderate Republican and is portraying Jesse Huseth as a moderate Democrat. So it's just an interesting comparison there. And the graphics are hilarious.
I agree with you there.
That's all I have to
Tawan,
say.
what are your thoughts?
It was issue-oriented. And I like that.
It was good compare and contrast
Yeah,
kind of
it
ad.
really was.
Here's who
And-
I'm running against. Here's what I stand for.
That's exactly, and that's what voters need to know. And then they fit in, they determine what they believe. But a good comparison.
Yeah, I thought it was the best ad of all the ones we've shown because it does give that definite contrast. And for people who've been paying attention, Gillespie does have some vulnerables, especially around what the city of Memphis and the city council has been trying to do with guns, and certainly the health care issue is a big deal, the abortion issue. I thought it was the best of all the ads we've seen.
Okay, very good. Well, that's going to do it for our look at the ads, and we won't be able to do that again for quite a while.
Oh,
all right,
good.
We're done.